You may have seen that dramatic video of hundreds of birds literally falling from the sky into a neighborhood.
Yes, I'm filming! Wow! Wow!
Do you feel like the air's gotten heavier lately? Like your sleep's more restless? And things that couldn't possibly happen keep happening anyway? If you've ever felt a chill looking at strange shapes in the sky, hearing weird noises coming from deep in the ground, or seeing stuff that feels like it jumped straight out of the Bible, you're not alone. The whole world feels it, this quiet alarm, like the curtain between what's real and what's coming is starting to pull back, and whatever's on the other side is getting real close. From 2024 into 2025, these strange things didn't just pick up, they exploded. In just 2 short years, we've seen more signs than used to take centuries to pile up. The sky's full of shapes nobody can explain. Earthquakes and volcanoes are going off all at once. Strange creatures are coming out of the ice. Bugs are moving in ways and numbers we've never seen. Storms change direction like they know what they're doing. And countries keep putting out official reports about UFOs, or UAPs, now more than ever before. Believe it or not, like it or not, the world is changing faster than we can keep up. The big question is this just a rough patch in nature? Or is it the signs of the end times that old prophecies talked about? From Matthew to Revelation, the Bible describes things that look an awful lot like what we're seeing right now. The earth shaking, stars changing color, wars breaking out, sickness spreading everywhere, and wonders appearing all over the planet. Those old words suddenly feel brand new, like they were written for this exact moment. What makes it scarier is that everything's happening at the same time. That's why this piece has one simple goal: to lay out the 7 biggest groups of signs showing up all over the world at once, so we can look straight at the truth that these aren't normal times anymore. This isn't fear-mongering or gloom and doom. It's real events, real photos, verified videos, and official reports from governments around the world. Put the pieces together and you get a picture that's hard to look away from. Because we can't keep closing our eyes to the warnings piling up all around us. And once you go through these 7 signs, you might realize the time we've got left is running out quicker than any of us thought. So let's not wait any longer. We're about to look at the 7 major signs that show the Lord's warnings were right. Everything is unfolding exactly like the prophecies said. You ready to see them? 1. Strange signs in the sky. These weird things happening in the sky around the world in 2025 aren't just some shaky videos going around on the internet anymore. They're now being seriously looked into by scientists, weather agencies, and even the military. And if you've been paying attention long enough, you get a real chill down your spine. What we're seeing looks an awful lot like the warnings written down thousands of years ago. Can you believe it? Back in Texas, March of 2025, lightning wasn't coming down in the usual straight lines or tree branch shapes anymore. Security cameras, people's phones, and weather radar all caught lightning bolts, forming ancient-looking symbols, curvy lines that looked like Egyptian hieroglyphs. Some nights the whole sky lit up with a giant eye, perfectly round and sharp, like it was staring right down at us. One long-haul trucker in Oklahoma even filmed a bolt that exploded into a perfect cross, blazing bright in the middle of the night. You see, these shapes can't just be random. They look drawn. And the big question is, drawn by who? Down in Brazil, the same kind of thing kept happening so often that the country's weather service had to open a special investigation. Scientists tried to explain it away with unusual electromagnetic activity, but nobody sounded real sure, calling it natural. Folks who know their Bible right away thought of Joel 2:30, where it says clear as day, "I will show wonders in the heavens and on the earth." Doesn't that give you a little shiver? Then, just to make sure we got the message that normal days are over, in May of 2025, a bunch of southern states saw the sun go dark in the middle of the day. Not an eclipse, not clouds, just a cold, gray, dull light that dropped over everything like a curtain. Astronomers are calling it Sigma Octantis events for now, some weird reflection of light from the south celestial pole. Science can give it a name, but it can't really explain it. Does that remind you of what Jesus said in Matthew 24-29? The sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light. And it didn't stop there. Just a few weeks later, hundreds of videos from New Mexico, Arizona, and Texas showed 3 suns in the sky, a perfect triple halo right overhead at high noon. Sure, sundogs have happened for centuries, but never 3 days in a row, and never this sharp and clear. It was eerie. Right in the middle of all that, the governments of the US, Japan, and Brazil all put out new reports on UFOs, or UAPs now, admitting they've been tracking intelligent unidentified objects flying in their own airspace since early 2025. This isn't gossip or movies anymore. These are official papers. When strange signs in the sky keep coming one after another like this, don't you feel like somebody's trying to wake us up? The Bible already told us in Luke 21:11, there will be great signs from heaven. And now those signs aren't just showing up. They're looking us dead in the eye, waiting to see if we're awake enough to realize what's coming next. 2. Glowing figures, angels appearing in plain sight. Glowing human-like figures showing up in real life isn't some wild fairy tale anymore. We're living in a time when things people used to call myths, legends, or even religious hallucinations are now caught on 4K cameras, drones, TikTok live streams, and even national security systems. At a lake in Texas late in 2024, hundreds of campers around the shore all filmed the same unbelievable thing at once. A glowing figure standing right on top of the water, not on a boat, not a reflection, not fog playing tricks. What they saw, and what the cameras caught, was a bright white shape giving off a soft blue light, just standing there in the middle of the lake, like gravity didn't apply. Then the light got brighter, and the figure slowly started walking across the water, taking light steps like it was floating on air. What goes through your mind when you watch videos like that? A few seconds later, the figure rose straight up into the sky in a perfect vertical line. No wings, no air disturbance, no sound, nothing science can explain. It reminds a lot of people of Luke 24-51, where Jesus was taken up into heaven right in front of his disciples. Some pastors down in Texas called it the first wake-up call, but the news media just stayed quiet about it. It's not just Texas. On the Mount of Olives in Israel in 2025, thousands of pilgrims recorded something that left the whole world stunned. Against the sunset sky, a glowing figure stood upright in the air, feet not touching the ground, yet it looked like it was walking. The light around it pulsed gently, bright, then softer, almost like a heartbeat. When thousands of people film the exact same thing from every angle with all kinds of phones and cameras, it's pretty hard to call it a deepfake, right? Even more chilling, this happened right on the Mount of Olives, the very spot where, in Acts 1:11, the angels told the disciples that Christ will come back in the same way you have seen him go into heaven. A glowing figure showing up in that exact place gave a lot of Bible scholars goosebumps. Could this be a sign something huge is about to happen? But the most jaw-dropping one has to be Mecca in 2025. While millions of pilgrims were praying, a powerful light appeared above the Kaaba. Dozens of different videos show a glowing human figure slowly flying across the sky, arms outstretched, body long and straight, moving smooth and graceful like it was gliding through the air. No noise, no wind, no engine, no thrust, just light and majesty. Tons of people broke down crying right there. Some fainted, others shouted that they had just seen an angel. A lot of religious scholars pointed to Hebrews 1:14, which says angels are ministering spirits sent to serve those who will inherit salvation. Doesn't that match up a little too perfectly? And the scariest part? These things aren't stopping. They're happening more often, more clearly, and more openly than ever before. It really feels like the curtain between heaven and earth is getting thinner, and the same beings we read about in the Bible are stepping back into our world, right in front of everybody. Who knows where they'll show up next? And are you ready if you see one yourself? 3. Discovering a mysterious frozen creature. The discoveries of strange frozen creatures in Colorado back in 2024, Siberia in 2025, and especially Antarctica in those first few months of the year, man, they shook the whole scientific world. But what really got everybody rattled wasn't just how they looked. It felt like somebody just kicked open a door from way before the Great Flood, letting out secrets we all thought were long gone and forgotten. These bodies, half human, half beast, huge, way taller than any person, had bones that don't match anything ever recorded. Just standing near them scared the daylights out of grown scientists. A bunch of them packed up and left the lab in the middle of the night. You know, the Bible warned about this a long time ago, about when these beings would show up again. Genesis 6-4 says, "There were giants on the earth in those days, those mighty men of old, men of renown." When you put that verse right next to pictures of these bodies that have been locked in ice for thousands of years, still perfectly strong, like they're just taking a nap, folks start shaking. What we called myths might really just be old memories coming back. Colorado was the first place the truth started slipping out. The exploration team thought they'd found some prehistoric animal, but the more they looked, the more that face looked almost human. Big, deep eyes, long and sharp predator teeth. They said standing in front of that frozen body felt like facing an ancient warrior, something that doesn't completely belong in our world. And then the rumors took off. Could these be the Nephilim coming back? Can you believe it? Then Siberia 2025 poured gas on the fire. Deep in ice that's supposed to be over 12,000 years old, they pulled up a body almost 10 feet tall, with crazy long arms and a chest twice as wide as a normal man's. A lot of archaeologists started flipping straight to the book of Revelation. Revelation 9:2-3. Smoke rose from the abyss, and out of the smoke, locusts came down on the earth. A bunch of people are convinced these things aren't just being found, they're being allowed to show up right on schedule. Antarctica was the real kicker. A whole group of these frozen creatures standing together like they were guarding something or getting ready to fight. No decay, no damage, nothing. Like time just stopped the second they got sealed in the ice. Priests who saw the pictures right away called them the Army of the Last Days and tied it straight to warnings about the Antichrist. 2 Thessalonians 2:8. That wicked one will be revealed with all power, signs, and lying wonders. When 3 places halfway around the world from each other all start uncovering the same half-man, half-beast creatures at the exact same time, you can't dodge the question anymore. Is this the sign that the Antichrist is already putting his army together? These things popping up everywhere at once isn't coincidence, it's a warning. Anybody who looks at it feels the same chill. The ice is melting, and the old age is waking up. 4. The great locust plague that covered the whole world happened just like the Bible warned about. The locust nightmare started small in East Africa back in 2020, but it grew into something nobody saw coming. From Ethiopia, Kenya, and Somalia, huge black clouds of locusts rolled across the sky like a night storm and ate entire fields in just a few hours. Nobody knew then that this was only the beginning of a 5-year disaster that would move from Africa to the Arabian Peninsula, then flood into Pakistan, and finally explode across the American Southwest in 2025, the biggest outbreak ever recorded in human history. The Bible had already described something that now looked like it was happening right in front of us. Exodus 10:14 says, "Locusts came up over the land. Never had there been any like them before, nor would there be again." When people saw the sky go black over Arabia in 2021, they started lining up what they were watching with what the Bible had said thousands of years earlier. It wasn't just a symbol anymore. It matched in a way that gave you chills. When the swarms crossed the Red Sea into Saudi Arabia, folks in Riyadh, Jeddah, and even Mecca said the sun got blocked out so bad It felt like the ninth hour, that moment of darkness in the Bible when God poured out his anger. A lot of people climbed up on their roofs and watched wave after wave of insects cover the sky, moving like one giant living thing. It didn't feel like a natural disaster anymore. It felt like someone saying, "Look, what was written is coming true." Can you feel that too? In Pakistan, from 2022 to 2023, farmers called it a little day of judgment. Whole villages lost every bit of their year's harvest in one single morning. Muslim and Christian leaders in Sindh and Punjab both said this wasn't just climate change, it felt like something holy was behind it. Joel 2:25 says, "I will restore to you the years that the locust has eaten." That verse made people think, if the promise to give it all back is real, then the warning before it is real too. But nothing shook folks like what hit the Southwest United States in 2025. Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, already dry country, suddenly became ground zero for a locust storm so thick the weather radar picked it up like a hurricane. What stunned the scientists was that these locusts weren't exactly the same species that came from Africa, yet they had strange new traits, almost like they'd been changed on purpose. People joked that they knew where they were going, but underneath the joke was real fear that made a lot of folks think of the warnings about the last days. Revelation 9:3 says, "Out of the smoke, locusts came down on the earth and were given power like that of scorpions." When you put that next to pictures of locusts in the Southwest surviving crazy heat and flying in swarms miles long, people started asking, is this a sign that the Antichrist is close? The path from East Africa all the way to America isn't just a story about bugs anymore. It's a straight line drawn across continents, like a message written in the sky by the Creator himself. A reminder that the hour to wake up is here, and nobody can say they weren't told. 5. Natural disasters move like they have a mind of their own, suddenly destroying everything. These recent storms and weird weather don't act anything like the ones you remember from years back. They don't follow the old rules, they ignore the forecasts, and sometimes it almost feels like they know what people are about to do. Did you notice that Chicago snowstorm back in November 2024? It smashed every record, buried the city faster and thicker than anyone had ever seen. That wasn't just a storm. It felt like a message straight from the sky saying, "Hey, pay attention." The Bible talked about this kind of thing too, about the earth and sky showing real power when the last days get close. Joel 2:10 says, "The sea roars, the mountains shake. The ground itself seems to disappear in God's anger." When you saw the radar showing a storm going the opposite way from what the experts predicted, and right in the middle of it, a perfect spiral that looked like 666, did that give you chills? It wasn't just science anymore. It looked like something mysterious that regular eyes aren't meant to figure out. Texas went through that awful cold snap in 2021, down to nearly 50 below. We thought that was the worst it could get. Then 2025 came along and brought the same kind of deep freeze, maybe even worse, and it spread to neighboring areas. Can you picture whole cities locked in ice, trees snapping, roads cracking apart, and folks just huddled inside praying the power stays on? When you watch those videos, ask yourself, is this still normal weather, or is something trying to wake us up? Even the weather experts admit they can't fully explain it with the models they've got. Storms going backwards, drawing strange symbols in the sky, extreme cold or heat hitting out of nowhere. It really does seem like nature has a mind of its own. Just when we think we've got everything figured out, the weather reminds us we never had control in the first place. And it's not just here. Strange storms have been hitting Northern Europe, Japan, even South America at the same time. They take weird paths, sometimes stop dead in their tracks, spin around one spot for hours, then vanish like they're in charge of time and space. Matthew 24:7 talks about famines, earthquakes in different places, and great signs from heaven. When you line that up with what the radar actually shows these days, it's enough to make the hair on your neck stand up. Do you feel that connection? The scariest part is when storms show up with shapes that look too perfect. like that 666 spiral, or repeating loops that look almost like a signature. Not everybody notices, but once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's as if something intelligent is leaving us a note. Time's running short. Wake up. These storms, blizzards, and wild temperature swings aren't just bad weather anymore. They feel like warnings from above. A quiet conversation the world can't afford to ignore. Next time you look at the sky or check the radar, ask yourself, am I really listening to what's being said? And am I ready for whatever comes next? 6. Those silent ground cracks and the mysterious trumpet sounds. In 2025, California started seeing these big cracks open up in the ground, real quiet and kinda scary. No shaking, no big boom, just the earth suddenly splitting apart, sometimes hundreds of yards long, like the ground itself was taking a deep breath. Doesn't that give you chills when you see the satellite pictures? We think we've got this planet all figured out, and then the planet reminds us who's really in charge. It wasn't just the cracks. From 2023 to 2025, more than 70 countries all over the world started hearing these strange, loud noises coming from deep underground. People call them sky trumpets. A bunch of the recordings left experts scratching their heads because no machine we've got can make sounds with that pitch and power. The Bible talks about something just like it in Revelation 8-7. When the first angel sounded his trumpet, hail and fire mixed with blood came down on the earth. When you listen to those recordings, doesn't it feel like the whole world is holding its breath, waiting for what's next? These quiet cracks in California weren't some one-off thing. The cracks showed up at the same time those trumpet sounds were heard everywhere, from Japan to Brazil, from Norway to right here in the States. Like everything was happening in perfect sync, like nature itself was sending us a message loud and clear. Doesn't that strike you as more than just coincidence? The Bible describes these kinds of events in amazing detail. Revelation 6:12 says, "When the sixth seal was opened, the sun turned black like rough cloth. The moon turned red as blood, and the stars fell to the earth." Those silent cracks, the trumpet noises coming up from the ground, and all the other wild things we're seeing, they line up with the pictures the Bible paints of the last days. Back then they had to imagine it from words. Now, we're watching it with our own eyes. Some scientists say it's just extreme geology. But have you noticed, these cracks don't cause big earthquakes. They don't shake houses. They just open up quietly and stretch for miles, right when those trumpet sounds are ringing out all over the planet. Doesn't that make you wonder if nature knows a whole lot more than we do? Picture yourself standing at the edge of one of those cracks, hearing that deep, booming sound rising up from below. Everything else dead still? Would you still have any doubts? Why do the sounds happen at the exact same time in so many countries? Why do the cracks only show up in certain places? A lot of experts believe these things are deliberate warnings, just like Revelation 11:15 says. The kingdom of the world has become the kingdom of our Lord and of his Christ. Once you see how the sounds, the cracks, and the Bible all fit together, it's pretty clear the end times are getting closer every day, and nobody gets to sit this one out. These silent cracks and underground trumpet sounds aren't just disasters. They're reminders from God himself, signs so plain that anybody who's paying attention can't miss them. The earth is talking, and right now it's time for the rest of us to listen. 7. Widespread plagues and mysterious mass animal deaths. In 2024 and 2025, the world saw something hard to believe. Birds dropping dead from the sky by the thousands, whales beaching themselves and dying in groups, elephants walking in circles for hours and then just collapsing for no clear reason. These strong, majestic animals that stand for life and nature suddenly looked helpless against some invisible force. No warning, no explanation, just sudden, mysterious death that leaves people shaken every time it happens. The Bible has warned about signs like these before the end times for a long, long time. Revelation 6-8 says, "I looked, and there was a pale green horse. Its rider's name was Death, and he had the power to kill with sword, famine, plague, and the wild beasts of the earth. When you put those old words next to pictures of thousands of birds falling dead across America and Europe, or whales washing up dead on beaches in South America, it sure feels like those ancient warnings are coming alive right in front of us. Whole groups of whales swimming straight onto shore and just lying there until they die has left scientists stunned. Dozens at a time, no attacks, no obvious sickness. You ever wonder why such smart animals that live in tight family groups would do something like that? A lot of folks are starting to think this isn't just bad luck. It's nature ringing a silent alarm bell for the human race. Birds falling out of the sky in huge numbers showed up from Texas and Louisiana, all the way to Brazil and South Africa. The sky would go dark with them. Then they'd rain down dead, scaring people half to death and killing thousands of smaller animals along with them. Elephants walking in perfect circles for hours before dropping dead was just as haunting. It looked almost like some strange ritual. Then boom, they're gone, one after another, and scientists still can't explain it. Genesis 1:24-25 says, God made every animal and saw that it was good. Seeing them die like this feels wrong on a deep level. It's not just one kind of animal. It's whole ecosystems getting hit at the same time all over the planet, almost like a grim symphony playing together. A lot of experts say it's a loud reminder that the clock is running out. Do you feel that urgency too? Every one of these deaths isn't just an animal passing. It's nature talking to us, loud and clear. These mass animal die-offs and plagues aren't only an ecological disaster. They're one more sign of the last days, proof that warnings written in the Bible thousands of years ago are starting to happen right now. All 7 strange things we just looked at aren't happening one by one anymore. They're all showing up at the same time, in the same rhythm, like some scary song playing together. Can you feel how urgent this is? Come with me and look at the big picture, where even science and gut feelings have to step back. From 2023 until now, more than 90% of these weird events have shot way up. They keep coming, faster than anything we've ever seen in modern history. Lightning drawing ancient symbols in Texas, silent cracks opening in California, locusts swarming East Africa and the Southwest, even red heifers being born in Israel, all of it lining up across the map, happening in the same week, the same beat, leaving scientists scratching their heads. Can you believe it? When you look at the timeline charts, none of this looks random anymore. It's one strange connected chain that today's models can't explain. Revelation 6:1-8. When the first seal was opened, I saw a white horse, and its rider held a bow. Then the second, third, and fourth seals brought death by sword, famine, and plague across the world. When you put that next to what's going on right now, do you see it? The Bible described this exact lineup of signs so clearly, and now we're watching it with our own eyes. We're seeing things line up in ways that are almost too much. One single week can bring lightning symbols, silent cracks, locust swarms, and a red heifer born. Can you picture that? It's all hitting at pretty much the same moment, on different continents, like nature and something beyond nature are working together to send mankind an urgent message. People at NASA, NOAA, and international weather institutes all admit no model can explain why these things are happening together. Storms moving the wrong way, birds dropping out of the sky by the thousands, whales beaching themselves in groups, silent cracks. Everything is outside normal science. Gives you chills, doesn't it? This isn't just a forecast anymore. It's a live warning we can't ignore. Imagine you're watching the weather radar, earthquake charts, and satellite feeds all at once. You'd see extreme storms, quakes, and those trumpet-like sounds coming from the ground, all moving to the same beat that science can't figure out. Joel 2:30 says, "The sun will turn to darkness and the moon to blood before the great and dreadful day of the Lord." When you line that up with what's really happening, those Bible words don't feel like metaphors anymore. They feel like today's news. Take the first week of May 2025. Lightning symbols in Brazil, a red heifer born in Israel that same week. locusts hitting East Africa, and a crazy blizzard in Chicago. Do you see the whole planet almost pulsing to the same rhythm? When you look at the charts, the dates and places connect so perfectly, it can't be chance. Anyone looking at it has to stop and think. Scientists say these synchronized events are beyond anything we can predict right now. Radar, satellites, seismographs, they record it all, but they can't tell us why everything is hitting at once in different places, like nature is playing some mysterious song. Do you feel that urgency yet? Every minute that goes by feels like another warning that time is running short. It's not just weather, animals are doing it too. Birds falling dead across the US, whales beaching together in South America, elephants walking in circles till they die in Africa, all within a few weeks of each other. Revelation 6-8 talks about sword, famine, plague, and the beasts of the earth getting power. When you look at the data, the Bible called these things long before modern science even had words for them. This worldwide timing isn't just numbers. It feels like a deliberate wake-up call from above. When you look at the maps, timelines, and real photos, all 7 things we talked about connect into one big picture that says, the last days are here. Do you feel the urgency in every detail? This isn't just about nature anymore. It's a living message telling mankind to wake up right now. These synchronized signs aren't accidents. They're a planned series of warnings, reminding us everything is changing on a supernatural schedule. Lightning symbols, cracks, locusts, storms, birds falling, whales dying, red heifers, all coming together in a rhythm that makes your heart beat faster when you follow it. Look close. Really feel it. Can you tell time is short and we need to hear this message today? Do you realize that what's happening around the world right now isn't just natural stuff? It actually lines up with ancient prophecies? Come with me. Let's open the Bible and look at the signs we're all seeing. Matthew 24:4-14. Watch out that nobody tricks you. A lot of people are going to come claiming they're the Messiah and fool a bunch of folks. You'll hear about wars and rumors of wars, nations fighting each other, famines, earthquakes in different places, and the good news will be preached to the whole world before the end comes. When you put that next to things like lightning writing symbols in the sky, birds dropping dead by the thousands, and weird storms, doesn't it give you chills how it matches? Can you feel how urgent this moment is? Luke 21:25-8. There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. On the earth, nations will be terrified because of the roaring seas and huge waves. When these things start happening, look up. Your redemption is drawing near. When you see videos of glowing people walking on water, or angels showing up in plain sight in Texas, Israel, even Mecca, don't those sound exactly like what the Bible described? It's like heaven is shouting at us not to waste another minute. Revelation chapters 6-16. I watched the first seal get opened, and the 4 horsemen rode out. Conquest, war, famine, death. Then the trumpets and the bowls get poured out. Signs in the sky, signs on the earth, nothing stays hidden. Look at everything happening at the same time. Lightning symbols, silent cracks in the ground, locust swarms, red heifers being born. Doesn't each one line up with those seals? It feels like we're watching history repeat itself right in front of us. When Matthew, Luke, and Revelation talk about wars, earthquakes, plagues, and disasters, they're not talking about random events. They're describing one big connected chain of signs, telling us to wake up before it's all over. Do you feel that urgency? Every storm that goes the wrong way, birds falling out of the sky, whales beaching themselves. It's living proof of words written thousands of years ago. The Bible also says these signs in the sky and on the earth aren't random. Revelation 8:7-12 talks about the 7 trumpets bringing fire mixed with hail, rivers turning to blood, the sun, moon, and stars going dark. When we keep seeing 3 suns in the sky, or the sun going black in the middle of the day, doesn't that blow your mind how exact it is? Nature itself is yelling the same message. The scary part, and the hopeful part, is that these signs aren't just warnings. They're a wake-up call. and a chance to get right with God. Luke 21:28. Again, look up, because your redemption is getting close. Don't you feel like we're living in one of those special moments in history? Every single thing, birds dropping, whales dying, lightning symbols, silent cracks, is saying the same thing. Time is running out fast. These prophecies from Matthew, Luke, and Revelation aren't some old fairy tale. They're playing out right now. As you watch and think about it, ask yourself, am I paying attention to what God is telling me? Nature, strange events, even supernatural signs are all saying the same thing. The last days are close, and the only time we have left to get ready is today. So, this isn't the time to be scared anymore. It's time to open our eyes, open our hearts, and do something. All these strange signs, from the sky lighting up to creatures frozen in place, are telling us loud and clear, we're running out of time. Can you feel that pressure yet? The first thing to do right now, today, is to repent and turn back to the Lord. Nobody knows what tomorrow's going to bring, but today, you still have a chance to be forgiven and saved. Take a good look at your life. Humble yourself before God, and just say to Him, Lord, I'm coming home. Are you ready to do that? Second, read the Bible and get it into your heart. God's Word is the light when everything's dark, the compass when all the signs are confusing. When you know Scripture inside and out, you'll spot the lies and see the real way to salvation. Pick up your Bible, read it over and over. Let those words sink in deep. Third, pray without stopping. Don't let a single day go by without talking to the Lord. Pray for yourself. Pray for your family. Pray for this hurting world with all its disasters, sickness, and weird signs. Have you felt the amazing power of prayer yet? It puts you straight in touch with God Himself. Fourth, tell people the good news, and do it now. Every friend, every coworker, every person in your family deserves to hear about salvation. You might be the very tool God uses to save someone's life. Share it today. Don't wait. You'll feel real joy when you see it change somebody's heart. Fifth, live clean and stay ready for the rapture. Everything you do, everything you say, everything you think ought to show a holy life, so when that moment comes, you're taken up to be with Him. Do you have the courage to let go of the things of this world and get ready for eternity? And finally, remember the warning. The last trumpet has sounded. The door of grace is about to close. Today is still the day of salvation. Tomorrow might be too late. Do you hear it? This is the urgent wake-up call. Act now, before it's too late. If this message helped you, don't keep it to yourself. Hit like, share it around, and subscribe so more folks can wake up too. And most important, get on your knees right now and pray, Lord, I accept you into my life. Please forgive me and lead me. Open your heart. Let the light from these signs guide your steps. Time is slipping away, minute by minute, and every one of us, you, me, all of us, has to decide, stay awake or miss the last chance. What are you going to choose today? In this wild year of 2025, when the whole world feels like it's shaking from things nobody can quite explain, folks have suddenly started seeing strange stuff all over the place. Like the earth itself is whispering, hey, pay attention. Something out there in the deep oceans. Something way up in the sky. It's watching us. People are catching weird shadows on video, funny lights in the night, things nobody can figure out. A whirlwind shows up out of nowhere. Some kind of creature flashes across the camera and vanishes. Who knows where it came from? It all happened so fast, so sudden, like a little nudge from God saying, "Folks, wake up before it's too late." Regular people are recording this stuff with their phones, and it spreads like wildfire online. Millions watch it scared half to death and curious at the same time. Nobody has a full answer, and that's exactly what makes every clip feel like a warning. There are powers way bigger than we can see, signs only the ones who are really paying attention will notice. The Antichrist? The Great Tribulation? Nobody knows for sure, but those old warnings in the Bible keep echoing through every strange thing we're seeing. The sea, the sky, the land, all of it screaming the same message. In 2025, with everything going crazy everywhere, watch this video all the way to the end, because maybe, just maybe, the Lord is trying to warn you personally. Keep your eyes open for every sign, every second, because the darkness is creeping closer, and the truth is starting to come out. And now, are you ready to dive in and look closely at every single sign that shows the future ahead for the human race won't be calm or pretty anymore, just like the prophecies warned us a long, long time ago? 1. Caught a strange creature hiding deep in the ocean. Back in March 2025, down in the Mariana Trench, a team from the International Ocean Institute was on a mission called Deep Probe 25. They were at about 11,450 feet deep, a place so dark the light just gets swallowed up, and the pressure can crush pretty much anything. Everything was dead quiet, kinda spooky. All you could hear was the low hum of the engines and the numbers dancing across the screens, like the whole ocean was holding its breath. Dr. Elena Vasquez, the lead biologist on the trip, was staring at the monitor when the ROV finally hit the target depth. All of a sudden, this huge black shadow slid past the camera, long and twisty like a little squid, but with a sharp, pointy head and glowing edges flashing blue, red, and gold, like some kind of weird LED lights from another planet. Elena whispered, her hands shaking a little. It's looking right at us." The thing spread out these smooth black fins, puffed them up, and pulled them back in, then swam around real graceful, heading straight for the camera light like it wanted to say hello. It circled 3 times, the lights flashed bright, and then it just vanished back into the dark. The video got uploaded to a private science forum, but only a handful of people ever saw it, and this mix of fear and wonder started spreading. NOAA experts took a quick look and said it was an unknown type of cephalopod with bioluminescent bacteria living on it, and that coming toward the light was just curiosity. But the official report got held up. NASA wouldn't comment, and folks started asking, why keep it quiet? Those glowing edges and the way it moved were way too smart for anything we've seen before. It just made everybody more curious. This whole thing brings to mind the Antichrist rising out of the sea, like it says in Revelation 13:1, "And I saw a beast coming up out of the sea, having 10 horns and 7 heads." That pitch-black creature with the glowing rim feels like a sign, something dark showing up and fooling people with fake wonders. The ocean's the one place we humans hardly ever go, and now it's showing us secrets science can't explain yet, reminding us there are powers way beyond what we understand. And if the sea is whispering something, is the sky shouting the next warning? Those weird tornadoes, the strange lights way up high, it all feels like pieces of one big message. Folks, wake up. Keep your eyes open for every little moment, every sign, because the Lord might just be trying to warn you personally. 2. A strange tornado connected to the sky. Back in June 2025, down on the coastal plains near Corpus Christi, Texas, a tropical storm popped up out of nowhere. The air was thick and sticky, just a light breeze at first, but the radar picked up a weird low-pressure spin, like the sky was sucking the ground right up. It all happened so fast, nobody had time to do much more than gasp. Jack Harlan, a 52-year-old farmer, was driving his corn-loaded pickup across the field when the tornado hit. The thing suddenly ballooned out, kicking up dirt and junk into a giant cone 500 feet tall. It looked like a huge snake dropping straight out of the sky. Jack said, his phone shaking like crazy while he filmed from the cab. A thin white cord stretched from the pitch-black clouds all the way down, like a funnel pouring power from heaven. The tornado ripped fences clean out of the ground and flipped his truck on its side, but Jack walked away. He swears it felt like something invisible was watching him, almost warning him. The video blew up online. Thousands of views in just a few hours. Folks were stunned. Was Mother Nature just throwing a tantrum? Or was the sky trying to tell us something? The National Weather Service called it an EF2 tornado caused by unusual wind convergence. That white cord? Just a condensation funnel made of water vapor, they said. They shot down any talk of anything supernatural. Yet the official report got edited later, and some weird details about the funnel's strange stretched-out shape got deleted. A few independent meteorologists think radar data was hidden. This odd tornado brings to mind pictures straight out of the Bible. Revelation 8-7 says, "The first angel sounded his trumpet, and there came hail and fire mixed with blood, and it was hurled down on the earth. A third of the earth was burned up." That white cord looked an awful lot like a call to judgment, a sign of God's anger coming soon. This wasn't just weather. It felt like a shout from heaven, a wake-up call for all of us. If the deep ocean just showed us secrets about dark messengers, the sky sure isn't staying quiet either. Freaky tornadoes like the one in Texas feel like direct warnings. People, pay attention to the signs. Security cameras in Mexico and all over the world might be catching closer versions of the same thing. White shapes, blurry figures, still hiding in the dark. Keep watching. Every moment, every tornado. Because the Lord might be trying to warn you personally before something we've never seen before finally shows up. 3. Catching the moment a whirlwind formed super fast. On August 15, 2025, at a cement plant in Tijuana, Mexico, a security camera caught a sudden heavy downpour. The air was hot and muggy, monsoon winds were whipping around, and everything happened so fast that the people there only had time to jump in surprise. Dust, trash, and water vapor got sucked up and started spinning like crazy, like the earth itself was whipping up a living tornado. The plant manager, Maria Lopez, 45 years old, was checking the security cameras when the screen started flashing like mad. In just 30 seconds, a whirlwind formed with winds up to 150 miles an hour and cleaned out everything in the warehouse. "It came together fast as magic," Maria said, her heart still pounding when she watched the video again. Right in the middle of the swirl, a bunch of folks swear they saw a faint white figure appear, wind circling around it like a halo, gliding through the warehouse before it vanished. A weird feeling spread. This didn't feel like just a normal weather thing anymore. Maria's a devout Catholic, so she posted the video on TikTok right away with the caption, "Do you see that white shape? It looks like an angel or a demon." The clip blew up, thousands of views and comments, but nobody could really explain it. The weather experts at SMN called it a heat convergence dust devil and said the white figure was just water vapor catching the light. So what do you think? Was it an angel or a demon? Let me know. This whole thing reminds people of the warning in the Bible, Matthew 24:27. "For as lightning that comes from the east is visible even in the west, so will be the coming of the Son of Man." That white shape in the whirlwind felt like judgment showing up, a sign from God warning about the great cleansing that's coming. It all happened so fast and so out of the blue that all we can do is watch, feel it, and not change a thing. If a whirlwind on land is just a little reminder, what might be hiding out in the dark ocean off Florida or some far-off place? Visitors from the stars, blurry images, white figures in storms, one strange event after another. They feel like puzzle pieces somebody's keeping hidden, daring us to see the message from God. Keep an eye on every whirlwind, every faint shadow, because the next sign might be aimed straight at you. 4. Mysterious green creature happily swimming under the dark ocean surface. On the night of October 22nd, 2025, the Miami Beach shoreline in Florida was wrapped in thick new moon darkness, with waves lapping softly like they were guarding a secret they didn't want to tell. The air was warm and peaceful. Folks were strolling along, totally unaware that in just a few minutes, the whole beach was about to get the shock of its life. One tiny moment out in the black water, and everything changed. Tom Riley, 29 years old, and down from New York on vacation, couldn't sleep, so he was walking the beach at night when something suddenly caught his eye gliding under the water. A streak of neon green light, way too bright, way too alive, shot past like a blade of light. Whatever that thing was, it swam in big loopy figure eights, leaving behind glowing green trails that gave you chills, then slowly faded away like it had never been there at all. Could this be an alien creature? That was the caption he slapped on the short video he posted online right then and there in the middle of the night. Turns out the beach had just had a big meteor shower a little earlier, drawing a bunch of tourists, including Tom, who came to watch the shooting stars. That little detail only fired people up more, making folks wonder if this glowing thing really was some extraterrestrial that had landed in our oceans. The question blew up into thousands of comments, but nobody had a solid answer. Pretty much everybody agreed on one thing though: bright green lights like that have never been a good sign. Noah finally spoke up, but their explanation only made things feel shadier. Bioluminescent phytoplankton, ionized atmosphere. Sounds scientific enough, sure, but the actual data they released was so skimpy it was hard to buy. A bunch of pages got taken down, and then everything just went weirdly quiet. Sometimes that silence says more than words ever could. Some people swear part of the deep-sea UFO research ties straight into this event, yet every bit of proof disappears the second it shows up. In the Bible, dazzling lights that don't come from God are usually a warning. Like in 2 Thessalonians 2:9, the coming of the lawless one will be in accordance with how Satan works. He will use all sorts of displays of power through signs and wonders that serve the lie. That cold, beautiful, eerie neon green glow left a lot of folks with goosebumps, thinking about the fake miracles the Antichrist will use to fool people. If the ocean is starting to light up with a glow that doesn't belong to this world, what does that mean for the rest of us? From the bottom of the sea to the sky above, these signs keep coming one after another like somebody's sending them on purpose. And when that dancing green light finally vanished under the waves, all we were left with was the question. Those golden mountains that showed up in the clouds in the days right after, were they a direct message from God, or something else trying its best to trick us? 5. Two strange golden mountains floating above the clouds, seen by many people. In December 2025, up on top of Pikes Peak, over 14,000 feet high, the wind was whipping at 50 miles an hour right in their faces. The temperature 7 below zero, cold enough to feel like it was ripping your lungs apart. Sarah Klein's professional climbing team was struggling forward just as the first light of dawn started to show. Up above them, the sky was nothing but a thick blanket of white clouds, rolling like some giant quilt from heaven. Nobody in the group had any idea that the moment they reached the summit would be the moment they saw something most folks only get to see once in a lifetime, if ever. As soon as they got their footing on the peak, Sarah looked up and just froze. Behind that rolling layer of clouds, two glowing golden shapes appeared, hanging in the sky like someone had cracked open a gate just a little. The whole team stood there stunned. When Sarah raised her camera and zoomed in, it got even clearer. These weren't reflections. They were two actual mountains made of gold, standing tall on top of the clouds, shining so bright, the snow under their boots turned gold, too. It only lasted a few minutes, but it was long enough to make the air feel heavy and strange, like something was watching them from behind all that golden light. Nobody laughed. Nobody spoke. They just stood there like they were under a spell, afraid to even breathe too loud. Then a big gust of wind shifted the clouds. The golden mountains melted away into nothing, and what was left felt colder than the ice and snow they were standing on. The USGS was asked about it right away, but their answer felt like a cover-up to a lot of people. Light refracting off ice crystals. Sounds reasonable enough on paper, but nobody explained why those mountains were so perfectly shaped, so sharp and clear. The official report took forever to come out, and the experts, who usually can't wait to talk to the news, suddenly went quiet. In the Bible, mountains are where God shows His glory. Exodus 24:15-16 says, "The cloud covered the mountain, and the glory of the Lord rested on Mount Sinai." Seeing two golden mountains standing on the clouds has a lot of believers convinced this wasn't just pretty weather. It was a message, a wake-up call, telling mankind to get ready for something big coming soon. Maybe the second great cleansing the Bible talks about more than once. If the deep ocean can light up with that strange blue glow, now the sky is raising golden mountains like signposts in the air. And the question keeping people awake at night is this: if those golden mountains stand for hope, then that huge rainbow ring about to show up over Hawaii, the one that's got both scientists and believers buzzing, could that be the halo of judgment the scriptures warned us about? 6. A giant rainbow ring appears out of nowhere. Totally weird. On the morning of April 5th, 2025, at Waikiki Beach, right after a big storm the night before, the water was still rippling a little from the leftover rain when this huge circle just showed up out of the blue. It was glowing bright, like it had its own light. Folks figured it was about 300 feet across, so big that people standing there couldn't believe their eyes. One end of the ring went straight down into the ocean, almost like it was punching through the water to connect to some other world. Lisa Chen, 27, from California, had only come out for a quiet walk on the sand to unwind after the storm. But as she stepped through the shallow water, that ring popped up right in front of her. It didn't wobble, didn't fade, didn't melt away in the rain. It just stood there, perfect, like a bright doorway, put there only for the people who happened to be around at that moment. "It was so close, I could have reached out and touched it," Lisa wrote on her status, still shaken up. A bunch of folks on the beach froze in their tracks. Nobody wanted to take another step. A couple people reached out like they were going to touch it, but they couldn't quite do it. Just a few minutes later, the ring slowly faded into the rain and was gone, like it had never been there at all, leaving everybody standing there with their mouths open. The scary part wasn't that it disappeared. It was the feeling that it came on purpose, like it had a message to give. And once that was done, it just left. The Hawaii Weather Service put out the usual explanation pretty quick: a circular rainbow caused by water droplets. But with a size nobody had ever recorded before, they had to use a lot of vague words. Their report was only 1 page long. No photos, no real data, no answer for why the thing stood straight up like a perfect pillar of light. The half-hearted way they wrote it up made a lot of people think the real story got cut out from the start, or maybe even they didn't know what to say. In the Bible, a rainbow isn't just something pretty to look at. It's the sign of God's promise between heaven and earth. Ezekiel 1:28 says, "Around him was a glow like the rainbow in the clouds on a rainy day." Seeing that full circle at Waikiki gave a lot of believers chills, because it didn't just remind them of the old promise. It felt like a heads up that when the Lord comes close, there'll be light everywhere, light nobody can hide from. When the ocean reflected a perfect circle like a halo, people started asking, could this be a gentle warning before the really big signs show up? And if the rainbow is the last promise being brought back one more time, then those two lights in the sky over Arizona, the ones that left astronomers and the military scratching their heads, might be the final wonder in the string of warnings the Bible talked about thousands of years ago. 7. Two strange lights appear in the sky. On the evening of November 18, 2025, out in the desert near Tucson, Arizona, the sky was clear as glass, not a breath of wind, temperature right around 60 degrees. No noise at all, no planes, not even a star twinkling out of place. But in that dead quiet stillness, something started to happen. Quiet, sudden, and impossible to explain. Robert Hayes, 62 years old and a lifelong stargazer, was the first one to spot it. 2 bright green lights popped up along the horizon, moving like they had a mind of their own, leaving long, glowing trails that crossed right in the middle of the dark sky. He said one of them suddenly spread out like a dome over the other one, and then thin rings of smoke came drifting out from inside, twisting into perfect circles, like somebody was trying to send a message. When Robert zoomed in on the video, he just about jumped out of his chair. Both lights looked exactly like round objects, moving in ways that made no sense for anything that flies. The second he posted the clip online, the internet blew up, people sharing it, commenting, going crazy over it. NASA jumped in right away, but their answer came way too fast, sounded forced, and didn't really say anything. They called it experimental aircraft and said the smoke rings were just unusual atmospheric reflections. No details, no extra photos, no side-by-side comparisons, nothing. Just a bunch of vague words that felt like someone pulling a curtain closed at the exact right moment. Anyone who watched the press conference could feel it. The officials wouldn't look straight at the camera, like they were trying hard not to say what they actually knew. Those 2 lights didn't act like any plane, and they sure didn't look like any star or planet anyone's ever seen. The more you replay the video, the clearer it gets. That movement was on purpose, not random. As folks got more and more suspicious, people started thinking about old warnings. In the Bible, Luke 21:25, it says, "There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. 2 glowing lights hanging in the Arizona desert sky." 2 signs painted on a pitch-black night gave a lot of people chills, like an old prophecy was coming true right in front of us. And if this really is the final warning, if the sky is trying to tell us something and we're still not paying attention, well, whatever comes next probably won't just be pretty lights. That's why we've got to look back at all 7 signs to see the big picture that's quietly coming together. Which of these signs hits you the hardest? What we've just witnessed isn't a bunch of random pieces anymore. It's like some invisible hand is putting them together into one giant picture. And as that picture starts coming into focus, a chilling truth shows up. Every sign is pointing to the same place. What we've just witnessed isn't a bunch of random pieces anymore. It's like some invisible hand is putting them together into one giant picture. And as that picture starts coming into focus, a chilling truth shows up. Every sign is pointing to the same place. The things that happened in 2025 aren't accidents. They're weaving a tapestry of prophecy where natural events mix with Bible symbols, making a chain of warnings about the Antichrist showing up and a reminder of the Great Tribulation. When you put all these events side by side, they don't look like separate weird things anymore. They look like warnings knocking on humanity's door, one knock after another, getting faster and louder. The Mariana Sea creature is the echo from the deep. That strange creature coming up from the Mariana Trench brings to mind Leviathan in Psalm 74, verse 14. "You broke the heads of the sea monsters in the waters." Its weird shape, covered in a black membrane with that glowing green edge running down its body, looks like a deceptive coat, something beautiful on the outside that hides what it really is. In Revelation 13, verse 1, the Antichrist also rises from the sea, coming up out of chaos. So when this thing appeared right during the strongest geomagnetic storm of 2025, it gave a lot of folks the chills. It's not just a strange animal. It feels like a living symbol that the powers of darkness are slowly crawling up from the abyss, slow but unstoppable. The Texas tornado is the first trumpet of judgment. That tornado in Texas, with a white cord hanging inside it, made a lot of witnesses think right away of the first trumpet judgment in Revelation 8 verse 7. Fire mixed with blood was thrown down to the earth. The milky brown cone spun like an angry curtain, and that faint white cord looked like a beam of light announcing judgment is on the way. The tornado sucked up dust and swept everything clean in its path, like a picture of purification. A reminder that in the Great Tribulation, the wicked will be swept away like dirt before the wind. The Mexico tornado is the lightning from the east and the sudden return. The tornado in Mexico, with that white shape moving crazy fast, made people think of the prophecy in Matthew 24, verse 27. For as the lightning comes from the east and flashes to the west, so will the coming of the Son of Man be. That white shape looked like an angel sent down, caught in the wind, shooting straight into the center of the storm like it was waking something up. Its movement was too fast, too perfect, too intentional, like it didn't belong to this world. And that suddenness is a strong reminder. When the real thing happens, nobody's going to have time to get ready. The glowing green creature in Florida is the global deception. The glowing underwater creature in Florida gets tied to the lying wonders in 2 Thessalonians 2, verse 9. The coming of the lawless one is by the activity of Satan, with all power and false signs and wonders. That neon green streak moving like a UFO under the water scared a lot of people because it was beautiful and terrifying at the same time, like something too perfect to be real. That light brings up thoughts of alien powers, but it could just be a clever mask for the Antichrist, used to fool the world and chase after illusions instead of the truth. The Golden Mountain in Colorado is glory, and the line between holy and unholy. A whole mountain range glowing gold in the sky over Colorado reminds folks of Mount Sinai in Exodus 24, verses 15 and 16. The cloud covered the mountain, and the glory of the Lord settled on it. That golden mass just hung there, separate from everything, shining with no light source coming from the ground. In the middle of all the chaos of 2025, that sight felt like a message of hope, but also a boundary. Where God shows up is also where He separates the holy from the unclean, getting ready for the final cleansing. The Hawaii rainbow ring is the covenant coming back, but closer than ever. The giant rainbow ring over Hawaii brings back the glory in Ezekiel 1, verse 28. Like the appearance of the rainbow in the clouds on a rainy day, so was the radiance around him. But this time the circle was way too close and way too perfect, like somebody was pulling God's covenant right down to the ground. When the covenant shows up that close, it's not a gentle reminder anymore. It's a sign that God is watching every move we make, ready to judge those who broke the promise. The two lights over Arizona are the final signs in the sky. Two green lights that showed up in the Arizona sky match perfectly with the warning in Luke 21, verse 25. There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. They weren't just bright, they moved like they were leading something, like two stars pulling something big behind them from far away. The twisting smoke rings looked almost satanic, and it gave people goosebumps because it didn't feel like just a sign anymore. It felt like a signal, and that signal might be the very last alarm before everything changes forever. When you put all 7 events together, a chain of prophecy shows up clear as day. It starts in the sea, the Antichrist rising, spreads to the land, plagues, then explodes in the sky, cosmic signs. It all makes the picture Matthew 24, verse 21 talked about. For then there will be great tribulation, such as has not been from the beginning of the world until now. Science keeps dodging and giving fuzzy answers, but the Bible doesn't. Everything is heading straight to a point of no return. And that's the wake-up call for mankind. Repent before the Antichrist steps up to his throne of power. From 7 strange signs in 2025, the final tapestry of prophecy is starting to unfold. Like an invisible hand weaving every thread, shaping the seas, the land, and the sky, sending a strong warning to all of us. Each one isn't just some weird event, it's a wake-up call, urging folks to come back to real faith. Those giant, mysterious sea creatures in the Mariana Trench, or the terrible tornadoes tearing through Texas and Mexico, remind us how fragile this physical world really is. Everything belongs to the Lord, not to us. Like John 3:16 says, "For God so loved the world that He gave His only Son." That love isn't just handed out with no strings attached. It asks something back from every one of us. The Antichrist will use all this chaos to fool people. Matthew 24:24. False Christs and false prophets will appear and perform great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. But those who stay faithful in the Lord will be protected and won't fall into the traps of darkness. Signs from the sea, the earth, and the sky, like the glowing neon creatures off Florida, the Golden Mountain in Colorado, or the Rainbow Ring over Hawaii, all shout the same message. The last days are getting close. Luke 21:11 warns, there will be great earthquakes, famines, and pestilences in various places, and fearful events and great signs from heaven. Every one of these things is a signal, inviting us to get our hearts ready, pray, live right, share the gospel. The Great Tribulation isn't the end. It's the doorway to God's kingdom. Revelation 21:1. Then I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away. That's the place where all pain and suffering will be gone forever, and God's justice will shine perfectly. Those strange lights in the sky over Tucson or the white figure seen inside a tornado in Mexico are proof the Antichrist is showing up. His power and fake miracles are carefully hidden, but nothing escapes God's eyes. People who saw them were shaking, amazed and scared at the same time. But every sign like that is really a chance for folks to see how shaky this life is, how much we need to hold on to faith, and that there's a supernatural power no one can stand against. The message draws a clear line. The faithful will receive glory, while those who turn away will face disaster. Like that golden mountain floating in the clouds over Colorado, glowing and mysterious, God promises a reward for those who stay true. Exodus 24:15-16. The cloud covered the mountain, and the glory of the Lord settled on Mount Sinai. The rainbow ring in Hawaii is like the glow around Ezekiel, both a sign of God's promise and a reminder He's watching Ezekiel 1:28. Like the appearance of a rainbow in the clouds on a rainy day, so was the radiance around him. These signs tell us that even in the middle of chaos, God is still here, and His promise of glory is still waiting for anyone willing to believe and follow Him. The overall message coming out of the events of 2025 isn't just a warning, it's an invitation to wake up. The Lord is calling mankind to realize everything is in His hands, and these strange happenings are His way of shaking souls awake. The tornadoes, giant sea creatures, neon lights, golden mountains, rainbows, or those two lights in the sky, they're all connected, from the deep ocean to the heavens, from fake wonders to real glory, painting one big picture of the great tribulation that's coming. Matthew 24:21. For then there will be great distress, unequaled from the beginning of the world. These signs also hammer home how important it is to get spiritually ready. Repent, pray, live right. The Antichrist may show up and use fake miracles to trick the world, but anyone who clings to the Lord will be kept safe. Like Revelation 20:10 says, the devil was thrown into the lake of burning sulfur and will be tormented day and night forever and ever. Evil's power will finally be crushed, and God's justice will win completely. These strange signs aren't here to scare us for no reason. They're here to wake us up, to remind us time is short, and what we do today decides where we'll spend tomorrow. In the end, the 7 signs of 2025 send mankind one clear message: stay awake, trust God, repent, and tell others the good news. It's an invitation to come back to true faith, to understand that every sign points to the supernatural truth and power of God. What looked scary and strange turns out to be proof of the Most High's power, a warning about the Great Tribulation and the coming of the Antichrist, while making it clear that hope and salvation are still offered to everyone who stays faithful and follows the Lord's light. Every tornado, every light, every rainbow is a note in a great cosmic symphony, reminding us God is still watching, and there's not much time left to turn back. Wake up before it's too late. In 2025, we've already seen 7 terrifying signs, from the deepest ocean trenches where sea monsters have risen up, to mountains of gold floating in the clouds, a giant rainbow circle over a Hawaii beach, and 2 mysterious lights in the Arizona sky. They all point to one clear message: the Antichrist is lurking in the shadows, and the Great Tribulation is knocking on every soul's door. It's a reminder to mankind that this world isn't our forever home, It's a test to choose light or darkness. These strange events, even when science tries to explain them away with fuzzy answers, all line up with the Bible. From the Leviathan in Psalms to the signs in the sky that Luke talked about,